everyone. My name is Iwan Popa. I'm an astrophotographer, and I wanted to introduce my style of imaging. I image with large aperture telescopes, ranging from 8 inches as an astrograph all the way to 14 inches on a C14 or ACF MEAD. The image I'm going to show today was taken with the telescope in front of you, which is a Officina Stellare Ultra 12.5 inches. It is an incredible telescope. It is 1680 millimeters f5.4. For reference, this is on one of the biggest mounts that you can find from Skywatcher, the biggest, called EQ8, or it is also sold as an Orion HDX. I do not use this mount, but it was good to use for demo purposes. I use a computer that's mounted on the top that downloads all the data, stores it. Also, I use the SkyX to image, as it works really well with my Paramount ME I. I use a QHY 600 mono camera along with Chroma 8 nanometers HA and 3 nanometer O2 and O3 and S2. Sorry. So this being said, let me show you what data I collected, and let's see what I did with it. So of course, my data is as different as it gets when it comes to noise levels. HA being the cleanest, the less noisiest channel, moving on to sulfur, a little bit worse, and moving on to oxygen, where it's a lot worse. I believe I have about 27 hours of data, mostly on the HA. I believe 40% of the data is on HA, and the rest is S2 and O3. So this being said, I calibrated the data with darks and flats. I did some dynamic background extractions on oxygen and sulfur. I did not do anything on the HA channel because it can get a little bit hairy once you start doing that. So let's see what I did with the stacked images and where I took it. So first and foremost, I stacked the images as a regular SHO image. I didn't do any kind of pixel math, any kind of synthetic luminance, nothing like that for this example. We'll get to that in later videos. For now, this is how I stacked it, your run-of-the-mill SHO stack. Then, the most important thing is to do deconvolution. This increases the amount of detail that you get for your nebulosity, as I'm showing here. The left is deconvoluted, the right is not. It also makes the stars much more pinpoint, and it's a pretty cool process to do. For anyone who hasn't done it, in PixInsight, there's a thing called Easy Processing Suite and the Easy Decon. It is very, very easy to use, and it does a lot of cool stuff to your images, getting a lot of details out. So after I stacked it and deconvoluted it, this is where my process starts to differ. I stretched it immediately and ran SCNR on this image, and then inverted it, ran SCNR, so I can remove any kind of gradients or pink magenta stars. It's as simple as that. Then the process gets interesting. I ran a StarNet 2 on this to remove all the stars. Before removing all the stars, I duplicated the image and saved it. I will get back to these stars a bit later. The reason I remove the stars is because as you stretch an image and you really try to pull the details out, as we can see here, the stars are going to start bloating and they'll start expanding, and it's very hard to get them back. So the best way to do this is to remove the stars, stretch the image, process it, and then bring the stars back later after everything has been done. So I started with a starless image, and I saved this for later. And then I did a few transformations on here. So I did an S-curve transformation. I will quickly simulate it for you. So you use the curve transformation tool, and you bump up the highlights, pull a little bit from the blacks. Then you also pull a little bit of saturation. You do that a few times, it ends up looking amazing. Be careful not to overdo it. If you overdo it, it's gonna look a little bit fake. So after doing all of this, I also did a range mask to do a HDR level, but it wasn't that much. So then I did a few more curve transformations, and another HDR. And as you can see, the pillars of creation are as good as they can be. Actually, one correction. This image is coming from a later date. So this is actually the image after I stretched it, removed all the stars, and did a curves transformation. After a curves transformation, I always take the image that I have and I do some color mixing. I do not like the gold color scheme that comes with the Hubble palette. Personally, I find that I want to twist it a little bit towards reds. So I always do color splicing in Photoshop along with a few other small tweaks. I will be doing a video to show that in the future. It's using a high pass filter to increase the nebulosity and kind of provide more detail. So this is where I was left after twisting this a little bit in Photoshop. I brought it back. I did a little bit of a curves transformation and another HDR to pull a little bit more detail from the center. And then at the end, I did a little bit of denoise, a little bit of sharpen. So what happened here is after I got more details in the pillars of creation out, I wanted to reduce the noise. Now there's many ways you can do noise reduction. There's a lot of tools that do it. Personally, what I use is Noise Exterminator. It is incredible. It does an amazing job. It has AI versions that you import and it gets smarter and better. So Russell Chroma does an incredible job to make that tool. So after I did some denoise and some sharpening, I had to add these guys back in. I created a mask using the Decon processing suite tool, and it's important that you use a certain mask. So you need to use the raw star mask, as the processed star mask tends to convolute the stars and expand them. So that will show in the final image when you bring the nebulosity back. So I created a mask. I then masked the stars, so inverting the mask itself, and I added the stars back in. Now, I was actually pretty happy with the image that I had right here, but I want to show you an image that I did earlier this year with the same data, but I did not remove the stars. So this is the image we just got to here, which I think looks really good. And this is my first attempt at it. Now, what I did here is I did a lot of background extraction on HA and O3. As you can see, there's residual color all over, and it didn't look like what I thought it should. Now, there's a couple of things. The stars here are specifically been removed because I wanted to focus on the pillars of creation, whilst here, I did not remove the stars. So I processed the image using the stars, and it ends up that they get bloated, very saturated. They have rings around them after you do star reduction. So if you don't know, remove your stars, then process your nebulosity. Now, this is what I got to. I'm actually very happy with this image. The details are good. The colors are nice. It's not overwhelming, and I feel like it really focuses on the most important thing in this image, which to me are the pillars of creation, the iconic image that Hubble and now James Webb has updated. This has been a quick video on how I collect data, how I process it, and what it ends up looking like. I will do more videos in the future of how I actually do imaging, data collection, how I guide, and how I process some more. But that's been it for today. Thank you, and I hope to see you in next videos.